Good morning, everybody, and welcome to a very special episode of Pokemon Facts and Trivia. This series has come a very long way since its beginning about a year ago, and so once again I must thank you all for the support on the series. Fact number 1. The Pokemon Black 2 and White 2 Beta. In the Black and White 2 Beta, there are two completely unused lines of text for the Pokemon World Tournament. This text was going to be used for Hilbert and Hilda, both of whom were originally going to be in the Champions Tournament. Interestingly, they aren't silent like Red, but instead, they quote the words that N told them at the end of Pokemon Black and White. Also, the fog condition was originally set to return to Battling. Although there are foggy areas in the game, such as Giant Chasm and Route 15, the condition never appears in battle. And by using a walk-through walls cheat, it can be seen that Route 10 is still programmed into the games, despite not existing on the town map, although the badge check gates have been removed, and the music that plays in the route is from Route 6. Fact number 2. Locations in Kalos. In Lumio City, a woman in the street will say that two Skiddo in front of Lumio Station were abandoned by their trainer, and wait by the station for his return, making a reference to a popular Japanese legend where an Atika dog waited at his train station after his master's unexpected death. Geosench Town's real-life counterpart is Karnak, where ancient stones dating back to 3000 BC can be found. In the English versions of Pokemon X and Y, the name of the Sea Spirit's Den alludes to Lugia, the master of the legendary bird trio. But in Japanese, its name is Watatsumi's Den. Watatsumi is a legendary Japanese dragon and a water deity. Finally, Anastar City's real-life counterpart is Strasbourg, pardon my French, where traces of living human occupation go up to 6,000 years ago. The sundial from outer space may reference the real city's astronomical clock. In Japanese, the city's motto is the Starry Timekeeping City. Fact number 3. Breeding. Nidoqueen and Nidorina are two Pokemon that are unable to breed, although Nidoran female and the entire Nidoran male line are capable of breeding. Although in the Mewtwo Returns anime special, an error is made where a baby Nidoqueen can be seen alongside a baby Rhyhorn. Due to the Pokemon Mansion journals, Mew is the only Pokemon described giving live birth to another Pokemon, that Pokemon being Mewtwo. Even after breeding was introduced in Fire and Leaf Green, the journal entry is left the same. But as we know, Mew never gave birth to Mewtwo in the anime, as it was created from a fossil containing Mew's genes. Fact number 4. Regigigas. Despite being a legendary Pokemon, in battle, Regigigas is very similar to Slaking. They are both normal-type Pokemon with a base stat total of 670, and an attack stat of 160. They also have abilities that limit their power, those abilities being Truant and Slow Start. Of all the Pokemon that learn TMs, it has been made so that Regigigas is the only one who cannot learn Protect or Rest. This is to prevent players from stalling out the effects of its Slow Start ability. In Pokemon Platinum, it is the only Regi that does not use a remix of the Regi battle theme. Instead, it uses the standard legendary battle theme for Diamond and Pearl, but in Black and White 2, it shares the Regi theme with the other three Regis. Regigigas is actually referred to in Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, despite not existing in those games. In the Sealed Chamber, the Braille translation says, "We owe all to the Pokemon, but we sealed the Pokemon away. We feared it." Since it would not make sense for Regirock, Registeel, and Regice all to be referred to as an it, the message is most likely referring to Regigigas. Regigigas is based on a Hebrew golem, said to be the servant of a higher power. The golems have writing on their heads, and when the writing is removed, they are weakened. Fact number 5. Pokemon Forever. Pokemon Forever is the only Pokemon film to have new scenes made specifically for Western audiences. Most of these edits were made to make the connection between Sammy and Professor Oak more obvious. When Ash first sees Suicune in the Japanese version, he calls Professor Oak for more info. Oak assumes that the Pokemon Ash saw was indeed Suicune, and begins to write a poem about Suicune. However, he is crushed by Ash's muck, and Oak hangs up the phone. In English, Oak tells Ash that he saw Suicune one time when he was younger. After hanging up, he wonders if he should have told Ash what would happen later on in the movie. The English version also got an alternate ending, Ash calling Professor Oak once more to tell him about his adventure. Then Professor Oak tells Ash that he and Sammy will always be friends. After hanging up, Ash, Brock, and Misty all begin to wonder how Professor Oak knew Sammy's name, even though they never told it to him. In Japanese, Ash never made the second phone call to Professor Oak, and instead the ending just shows Professor Oak getting out his old sketchbook and turning to the page showing his drawing of Pikachu and Celebi. In Japan, this is the only clue that Professor Oak and Sammy are the same person. For the director's comments in the English DVD, the voice actors talked about watching the original ending and being completely confused on whether Professor Oak and Sammy are the same person or not. Once they confirmed that they were the same person, they immediately began working on a new ending for the film.